independence, and that is still in the process. So the protection is at different levels, physically, and also when they do lose their lives, unfortunately, what happens. In the case of what you were referring to, they were going on community policing, and that approach, we do not want to alienate the communities, so they are normally not armed. But that's what we're talking by surprise. So you see one of the measures now, intelligence gathering is becoming one of the measures that we want to focus on. So that's what I have to say, Right Honorable Speaker.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, you've had 3 questions.
No.
Oh?
No. This is my 3rd question, Mr. Speaker.
Please go ahead.
Most grateful, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, as ranking member on your Committee of Foreign Affairs, I am concerned about the travel advisory that is issued and published by embassies in our country. If you pay attention to the travel advisory of the United States of America, the United Kingdom, and Canada, they are all pointing to growing insecurity. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me to read the Canadian one, that
Honorable, operate within the confines of the committee that you represent.
Thank you very much. I'm doing so and respectfully. Let's take the hands up for 26th May 2016.
Honorable, please proceed.
The official, I'm proceeding. I'm proceeding by providing evidence of what they said during that day. When they...
Honorable, we don't provide evidence on that regarding which the Speaker has made a ruling. And I'm asking you to proceed. Whatever is the objection, I've dealt with it, and I'm saying you proceed. Then you don't go back. Please, go on within the parameters of your response to the committee's, your contribution to the committee's report.
Mr. Speaker, I have in my hands here the official report of Parliament. 26th May 2016, column 612. By the Honorable K.T. Hammond was the ranking, and this is his contribution. 4th paragraph. Mr. Speaker, look at paragraph 13.5 of the 2006 report, which talks about car power ship. GNPC has become the guarantee bank of Ghana. GNPC has become the guarantee bank of Ghana. It has taken over the functions of the Bank of Ghana, and it is now guaranteeing whatever comes across them. I'm making a quotation. Today we are here, GNPC is guaranteed for $174 million through a vehicle, Letasco. What happened there? What has changed? If you have changed your mind, what informed your decision to change? Mr. Speaker, the next point is providing financing for BOST. And also in the same report, I have the contribution of Dr. Okotos, my senior member, MP for Old Safo, and I want to quote. Mr. Speaker, and this is what I quote. Mr. Speaker,
Honorable member.
No, I'm just making quotation. Mr. Speaker, I'm just quoting. And I want to quote, then I withdraw. Mr. Speaker.
Honorable, you assume your seat. You will assume your seat and listen to the chair. There is an established practice for seconding motions. If Honorable, second the motion and let us make progress. And honorable members, I would like you to know that in proper parliamentary practice, a member will operate within the parameters of seconding. Then if that member has got even some points, he writes them down, or he or she writes them down for another member of his side to make certain contributions. But in answering, you don't take us back to all manner of historical references. You are seconding the motion. Please proceed within the parameters of the committee's report.
Mr. Speaker, I'm contributing to the motion after the second. And I made reference to
An honorary member, a member who seconds a motion operates within the parameters of the report, which that member is seconding for adoption. So you speak to the report.
Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking to the report.
Member who makes a contribution. And your leader is signaling you. You may as well observe.
Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking to the report, and I'm on 10.3, where GMPC, through a vehicle, is sourcing for a guarantee of $174 million for the second batch of car power. In contributing to that, I made reference to an earlier contribution that was made in 2016. I think I'm still within the confines of
Honorable member, you are out of order. Honorable members, the motion has been moved and seconded and is for consideration of the House. The honorable member said he was seconding the motion. It doesn't allow the honorable member, therefore, not to be overruled no matter the circumstances. Understand the rules. Honorable members, you have to understand the rules. And in fact, incidentally, we better do so. The motion has been moved, seconded, is for the consideration of the House. Yes, Honorable.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to add my voice. Mr. Speaker, in adding my voice, GMPC proposes to change the nature of the scholarships that they've been given over the period. Mr. Speaker, the idea is to give over 1,000 student scholarships. And I'm very, very grateful that at least it will reach more Ghanaians, and specifically for science students who have been having difficulty getting sponsorship to further their education. Mr. Speaker, if you take GMPC's responsibility activities, over the years, a lot of the projects have been happening along the coast, especially in the Nzima areas. But on the Ahanta side, where we have Takrade, Bifunitim, Iskado, Ahanta West, Mr. Speaker, we don't find a lot of these activities. And I believe that now that the program 9.4 million to disperse on corporate social responsibility, Mr. Speaker, GMPC would ensure that more of their corporate social responsibility projects are also happening on the Ahanta side of the Western region. Mr. Speaker, going forward in the MPP manifesto, Nana Adedanko Akufo-Addo and the MPP promised office of GMPC. Mr. Speaker, I'm speaking to the report. I'm speaking to the report. So read the report. Mr. Speaker, if you take paragraph 9.4.1, it talks about the corporate head office in Takrade. And then if you take another paragraph, 9.42, it talks about the Accra head office. Mr. Speaker, I believe that what the MPP promised was the corporate headquarters in Takrady, not the operational headquarters. Mr. Speaker, we didn't ask for the operational headquarters, and that is not what the MPP and another promised. And I believe that that part of the program should be looked at again. Right. And I believe that GMPC need to look at that again. It is very, very important so that we are sure that what was promised was delivered to the people of the Western region. With these few words, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to add my voice to the report.
Thank you very much, Honorable. Hannah.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the motion ably moved by the Chairman of the Mines and Energy Committee, Honorable Emmanuel Jemfi, MP for Odotobri in the Ashanti region. He always likes to add that. To approve the work plan for GNPC. Mr. Speaker, it is necessary to approve this work plan. And in doing so, I want to be guided by contributions made last year by some of our seniors in Parliament, Honorable Dr. Osei Akoto, as captain in the Hazard of 26 June.
Dr. Akoto.
Mr. Speaker, I'm quite pleased to have the Honorable Delasowa refer to my contribution. However, there is no Dr. Osei Akoto here. There is Dr. Akoto Osei. So if she's making reference to me, she needs to correct herself.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The correction is well noted. It's Dr. Akoto Osei. Mr. Speaker, there's one item in the report that I want to talk about. It caught my attention. That is in paragraph 10.7, which is the issue of vehicles. And the budget for that item is $1.7 million. Mr. Speaker, President Nana Akufo-Addo said that there was a freeze on the purchase of vehicles. And there was a letter from the Chief of Staff stating that the ban is in place until further notice. Mr. Speaker, I realize that they want to do a study on the Voltarian Basin to find out how much hydrocarbon they have there, which is well and good. It's good news for Ghana, good news for Voltarians. However, 1.7 million for vehicles is a little worrisome. I did a simple calculation. If it is pickups at the market price of $30,000 each, that is buying 56 pickups. And I thought 56 new pickups for GNPC was a little on the high side. Mr. Speaker, the reference I made to Honorable Dr. Akoto Osei, he said when you see something and you don't say it, it's a good one. When you see something and you don't say it, we are not doing the people of Ghana any good. If we see something that is wrong, we should point it out. We should bring it to the fore. And so although I'm a member of the committee, when I noticed this, I thought it was right to bring it to the fore, that we should all see that spending 1.7 million on vehicles is excessive. However, Mr. Speaker, in order not to perpetuate the illegality of GNPC spending before we approve their work plan, I want to ask my colleagues to support the work plan. Mr. Speaker, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
Honorable Katie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to contribute to the report. Mr. Speaker, in 2001, the NPP government came out and told the whole of Ghana and the whole world that GNPC had deviated completely from its core responsibilities and had gone on the frolic of its own and taken on matters that it was not mandated by its enabling act to undertake. Mr. Speaker, by the time of, I won't go into the details, by the time of 2008, 2009, when NPP was exiting power, Mr. Speaker, GNPC had been put on the path of the straight and the narrow, and GNPC was doing the right thing as expected under its law. Mr. Speaker, we then move on to the next phase of administration of Ghana under the Lord, now sitting opposite there. Mr. Speaker, that was from 2009, and what happened? GNPC, Mr. Speaker, was going back to the activities that the whole Ghana had cautioned it not to do. My colleague, Muta Wakili, Mr. Speaker, otherwise called Garish, Mr. Speaker, was the vice chairman during the last administration. Where he's quoted me, he hasn't given it to me, I'm not sure if I'm quoting, but he's an honorable man. So, Mr. Speaker, I take it that I said exactly what he said. Mr. Speaker, GNPC had not just become the Bank of Ghana, it had become an international bank of the world and was dishing out money like confetti, left, right, center, and everywhere. He got me in the context of car power. Mr. Speaker, yes, car power, yes. GNPC had gone to guarantee the responsibilities of car power.
Mr. Speaker, I just want your guidance. You have consistently told us this morning to make reference to this report. My honorable colleague never even made reference to any point. He's speaking his mind. And he's been allowed to go on an international...
Honorable, are you addressing the chair or gesticulating?
Mr. Speaker, I'm addressing the chair.
Please address me.
Thank you very much. So, Mr. Speaker, I want you to redirect him to make reference to this document which we all have. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, Honorable Amo, if you please take your seat. This is why I want honorable members to pay attention and listen to the chair at the appropriate time. I did say, and it's borne out by Hansard, when you are moving a motion, you move within the parameters of the report that you, Chairman, you are presenting. Please be very patient. When you are moving, you move within the parameters of what you are presenting, and then you speak within the context of the report that you are presenting to the House. The man or woman or honorable member who is moving is not permitted to move in his or her own terms as he or she likes. The person who is seconding, who is part of the committee, also makes a support statement within the parameters of the work of that very committee. In fact, an honorable member may be so placed that he may have his own comments to make. You may as well pass them on to another person. But that person who presents a report does not do it by way of doing his own or her own thing. That is the rule. So please, don't mistake the two. When an ordinary member or any other member gets on his or her feet, he may make references to other related matters, provided he is not totally off tangent, as the Speaker may rule. Please, honorable members, get that straight so that we don't make this kind of mistake again in the future. Honorable Hammond, continue.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to
Please, when you hear a good thing, learn it and don't just enjoy the noise making. It doesn't dignify or help this parliament. Learn it and don't go the other way next time. That's how we learn. Order. Please go.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, and the worst of it is that my colleague hasn't even bothered to read the report.
Honorable Hammond,
Mr.
what
Speaker.
I've ruled on is behind us. Proceed and conclude.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in paragraph 10.3 of the report I have, copious mention is made of car park. It's for that reason that my colleague Mutawakilu, Mr. Speaker, actually produced that report and referred to the comments that I have made in that report. Mr. Speaker, in response to that particular comment about GMPC being bank of whatever, Mr. Speaker, the point I make is this, that GMPC, out of its own volition, went and contracted the relationship, which then led to GMPC having to pay the 100 million that we're talking about. Mr. Speaker, the issue was taken on the floor. I think eventually ended up in court, the Supreme Court. My colleague here, Dr. Sibe, actually took the matter to court. The Supreme Court said that it was within its powers so to pay. Nobody has any quibble with that. Mr. Speaker, the fact that another commitment has come for GMPC to follow up, Mr. Speaker, is of no moment, because that is what the Supreme Court has asked us, Mr. Speaker, to do. In any event, Mr. Speaker, how come that it has now become 450 megawatts plant when originally it was 225 megawatts? Mr. Speaker, my understanding at the time when it was 225 was that we may not need the remaining 225 megawatts power because we were literally flooded in the installed capacity. Indeed, I understand that it was under the same administration now sitting down there, Mr. Speaker, that somehow... I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker.
In conclusion,
Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I am asking my colleague, the Honorable Minority Leader, Mr. Speaker, not to keep on adding to the plethora of some very strange pronouncements he's making in this house, to this country, by suggesting that the ENI Petroleum Agreement was the baby of the NDC administration. Mr. Speaker, they do not read from the document of this house. I, Mr. Speaker, as the Deputy Minister and Mr. Speaker yourself, brought the document to this house in 2006 for ENI to be approved in this house. Mr. Speaker, where was my colleague when he got up the other day to say that it was the product of the Bahama whatever?
Honorable. Order.
He has the pension.
Honorable Hammond, you are out of order. Honorable. Honorable, order. Honorable, you continue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to the motion. Mr. Speaker, in doing so, I would wish to refer the House to page 12 of 20 of the committee's report. Mr. Speaker, you will notice that page 12 of 20, we have here the income for Ghana National Petroleum Corporation. Income coming from Jubilee, income coming from Penn, income coming from JMA, Sankofa JMA, and other incomes like miscellaneous, including rental income, services to exploration companies, interest on short-term investment. Mr. Speaker, reconciling the revenue flow as the committee has captured in page 12 to that of the media review that the minister responsible for finance came to present before this House on the 31st of July. Mr. Speaker, on the media review, page 56, Mr. Speaker, you will notice that transfers to Ghana National Petroleum Company has been reduced by an amount of 209 million Ghana cedis. Mr. Speaker, one will recognize that at the minimum, the committee should have taken this into consideration and where possible, reduce the revenue flow, because this does not represent the revenue flow for Ghana National Petroleum Company. Mr. Speaker, it's in the same vein that you notice that the expenditure
Ghana National Petroleum Company cannot spend the same amount because they will not have the flow to be able to spend. So, Speaker, I don't know the basis that we are debating this. I think that they should go back, reconcile the numbers before this Honourable House will approve this, because this is not right and it cannot be allowed to stand. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
And now leadership, Honourable Minority Leadership, and then Honourable Majority Leadership. Honourable Minority Leader. Order.
Mr. Speaker, I wish I could indulge you. I see the Honourable Minister for Monitoring and Evaluation. I note at my back the former Minister for Power, Kovna, was on his feet.
Honourable Minority Leader, is you I'm seeing for
now. You have invited me. Mr. Speaker, I'll proceed. Mr. Speaker, I rise to speak to this motion. And Mr. Speaker, to use this opportunity, I have respect for the chairman of the committee. But Mr. Speaker, with his report. First, page 1. 2017 program of activities.
You have difficulty with the committee's report?
Oh, yes, with the committee, your committee's report.
Yes.
And Mr. Speaker, page 1, paragraph 1. They are saying that the 2017 program of activities of GMPC was laid in Parliament by the Minister for Energy. That is inaccurate. This paper was laid by the majority leader, and I'm holding the votes and proceedings of that day. Therefore, to begin with, you must be seen working. No, it's not petty. You see, you reference Minister. I have the votes and proceedings. So I hope, Mr. Speaker, you will give me an opportunity to correct it. And then also it reflects in the committee's report. One can understand the busy schedule of the minister, that an important institution such as the GMPC, it means we don't have the formal presence of the minister when the committee engage. That should not be encouraged. Particularly listening to Honorable K.T. Hammond, when you want to know the policy direction of the GMPC, guidance must come from the minister responsible for energy. I have enormous respect for him, and I think that he must be encouraged to participate in these processes so that he can guide how GMPC will live to its mission and vision of contributing to the overall development of our country. Mr. Speaker, still on the committee's report, page 4, paragraph 7.8, you see a head note, negotiations. What is that word doing there? Negotiations. What you report there is that the corporation signed and ratified 3 petroleum agreements, Springfield, Swarco, ENI, in March 2016. So those who want to know when ENI was signed, it was, if they are students of history, ENI was signed in 2016. But Mr. Speaker, my purpose is, in March 2016, also a letter of credit for security package agreement of $500 million with the World Bank for the OCTP Sankofa Junior Gas project was signed. Then you have a headline there, negotiations. What is negotiations doing there? It's misleading. If you are reporting the provision by government of a collateral security of guarantee by the World Bank, say so. But if you come and put it there and have a heading negotiations, Mr. Speaker, one will have a difficulty with it. Mr. Speaker, may I now refer you to the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIA, established under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act 2011, report on management of petroleum revenues for year 2016 annual report. And Mr. Speaker, to recommend strongly to this House that there are recommendations in this report that affects government, GMPC, GNGC, and others that we must pay attention to. And Mr. Speaker, I'm quoting verbatim from
order. Honorable, do rise on the point of order. But whatever it is, be brief, because I intend that the
Mr. Speaker, the minority leader just referenced the PIAC report for the year 2016.
as we speak, is before the Finance Committee. We haven't worked on it. Recommendations that he wants to reference have not been adopted by this House. The report in and of itself, cannot stand until Parliament recommends it. So let him stay away from that report.
Honorable Minority Leader, please continue.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I just will refer to a quote, and it talks about energy sector and the role of GMPC, and say it recommends XB. Mr. Speaker, page 5. Or just go to XV. Go to XV.
Page 5, line.
No, it can't even be 15, it's so far away. The way it's arranged, you have 1, 2, 3. XV of it. Mr. Speaker, it reads, it recommends immediate meeting between the government, GMPC and GNGC to agree on a clear roadmap for the clearing of VRA indebtedness to GNGC. I think that must occupy our attention. The threat and guarantees to energy security and many other things affecting this sector must be addressed based on this particular report that has been sent to us. Mr. Speaker, I also note that the receivables for GMPC for 2016 is reported at $88.50 million, which is far less than what was reported in 2015 of about $126.86 million. And therefore, we must be finding out why the significant drop and what is it that we need to do right in respect of it. Because from it also reports that the allocation of GMPC during the review period is the lowest it has received since distribution of petroleum revenue began in 2011. Absolutely, compared to it. Mr. Speaker, my worry is what the ranking member of Finance, the Honorable Atuforsen, raised. And I go to refer you to page 12 of the report. If you have in a revised budget, we are told that GMPC's budget is revised by 209 million. Now, if you are operating within the 1.481.94, you cannot run what is attached in page 13. It means there is a shortfall.